Hey guys, it's Cayley, and today I wanted to go over 3 tips to help increase your sales on sites like eBay and Poshmark. I think all 3 of these tips will work with both eBay and Poshmark, and to be honest, they're all 3 really easy to do. These 3 tips I have been using in my own business and trying them out, and they are tried and true. Some of these I've been doing for probably over the last year. Some of them I just started doing this week. But all 3 of these things I have noticed a significant difference in my sales when I apply these tips. Number 1, and the one that I have most recently started doing, is to switch to two-a-days. Now what I mean by that is there are certain tasks that I think a lot of us resellers only do once a day. These are things like answering customer questions, sending out offers, responding to returns. Very long time I was only doing those things once a day, and I thought it was really efficient to only handle them during one time during the day. I figured if I got them all done at the same time, then I could wipe them off my plate and really use my time wisely. But what I have noticed by only doing it once a day is that I'm not able to retain as many sales as I could if I did it multiple times a day. If you think about it, we all know that we want to send offers pretty much as soon as somebody's interested in the item. But what about customer questions? Recently, I've switched to two-a-day customer questions. Basically, I do a morning sweep and an evening sweep right before I go home. To be honest, I could probably even add a midday one, but ultimately the goal is to answer people's questions as soon as they become interested in the item. If a customer is asking you a question about an item, obviously they're interested in it. So if you can answer that question and ease their concern or confirm their suspicion, most of the time you can pull that sale through within the next 5 minutes. While I can't commit to answering a question as soon as it happens because we're just far too busy, I've tried to improve my business by doubling the amount of times that I answer customer questions. So we usually work 8 to 4. I usually answer them at 8 in the morning right when we get in, and then usually about 3:30 right before we go home. Now, as a business owner, obviously, I'm on my phone answering and handling stuff more than that as I can, but just in a general sense, a everyday rule that we absolutely have to follow is we're now answering customer questions twice a day. And I've actually seen a lot more sales retained since trying that method. So if you're able to swing it, take that time and increase the amount of times you are answering customer questions. And I've talked about this before, but I really wanted to include it in this video because it has made a huge difference over the last year in my reselling business. And that is to switch the content that I watch or listen to only be about efficiencies or processes. So when I first started reselling, I found it really entertaining to watch thrift hauls, learn about brands, but I never really learned how those people found out about those brands, and I never really found out how those people found out about those brands. I realized that if I just learned how to figure out what brands were good without having to watch other people, that I could be much more efficient and learn a lot faster. Same thing with how to take photos. I watched a ton of videos on photography setups and what was the best way to take photos, what was the best app to use for a background removal, should I use background removal, should I not? And ultimately, instead of watching what other people had to say about it, I should have done my research on what is the best lighting setup for product photography. I had to learn about the brightness of bulbs and what causes a light to have cool tone lighting or the brightness. Instead of taking other people's word for it, I actually learned how to figure that stuff out myself. A lot of it is just trial and error. So instead of just taking somebody's advice on how to take photos, I actually timed all of those processes myself and decided what worked best for me. So if you are going to watch or listen to content, I highly recommend, instead of looking up all of the surface level stuff, to start really digging down and look up how to increase efficiencies and your processes. Oftentimes, some of the best changes that I've made in my business have actually been with myself. Learning how to make myself faster, learning how to be healthier, learning how to have a better thinking process in order to make those decisions. So try to get to the core of the matter and try not to watch other people's content, just take them at face value. The biggest one that I see people doing, and the biggest mistake I made when I was researching content, is, again, I would look up a ton of thrift hauls and bolo brands and just watch tons and tons and tons of thrift hauls of other people's content. It wasn't until I learned how to navigate the eBay app and how to look up sell-through rates that I figured how to do that myself without having to watch hours of content. Next up is a pretty controversial one, and hear me out on this, okay? Don't click out of the video. It is to lower your prices. Now I know what you're thinking. how do I lower my prices but make more sales? A lot of us tend to price at market, or we tend to value something higher than what its actual value is. And so while you're doing comps, make sure that you are super specific, really look at the size of the item you have, and take into account the condition of it. If you don't price accordingly the first time, that item is going to sit for so long. One of the best methods to get items to sell quickly is to price slightly below market. It doesn't have to be a big difference either. I think a lot of people think that you're tanking the market if you price lower than other people, but you could just do it by 50 cents, $1, $2, and that slight difference makes the biggest impact on your sales. A lot of buyers sort by the lowest price to the highest, so even if you're only 50 cents lower than somebody, your item is going to show up in search first. And instead of pricing an item for $40 and then waiting a year to sell it, you could just price it at $35 and sell it within 3 months. And just that $5 makes the biggest difference on how quickly your items are selling. Even though you're getting a smaller amount on that one item, that sale will help to boost you in the algorithm and tell eBay that you're a good seller because the items that you're listing are selling. Therefore, they're going to promote your items more and more, and you're going to start selling more items to create a snowball effect, a sales snowball. You can price slightly lower and increase your likelihood of a sale. The thing that really beefs up my sales every week on those what sold videos are the bread and butter items, the quick sellers that I sell for $20 to $25. And I've really learned a big lesson on not being stingy with my items and just taking offers when they come in. So that is it for today's 3 tips on how to increase your sales. I hope that you guys found these helpful, and I'll see you in the next one. If you're not already, don't forget to subscribe down below and hit that notification bell. You'll be notified every time I post new content. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.